As you can see, I am not in Arizona anymore. I am in Montana looking at some rental properties that I have and checking up on things, looking for other investment deals. There is no fun being had. Listen, we came to Montana to look for some investment properties, right? And we're not having any luck. The market is super hot right now. Like, there's nothing on the market. All we could find is this 2-bedroom snow cave. And it looks like it's a little bit of a fixer-upper. Somebody caved it in while we weren't here. I don't think that. It's just the entrance. We'll fix it. That's 6 times zoom. Yeah! I get a lot of people calling me as a real estate agent, and they're like, real estate values have been going up over the past few years, and we have a lot of equity, so we wanted to sell our house and upgrade to a bigger house. But we can't find anything else in the area. As they quickly realize, everything in the neighborhood has also gone up. So their home has gone up in value, but the other homes have also gone up. So they're going to have to replace that house. They have to live somewhere. So unless they're moving outside that market, most of the time it's a lateral change unless they're bringing additional money to the table or they've got an increase in income or something like that. So unless you have multiple properties, or you're moving into a different market, or be able to make some big life changes, it's hard to get too excited about the ups and downs in the real estate world because, like I said, everything else is going up and down as well. But if you have 2 properties, at that point, you're in the game because you can ride those markets up and you can sell at the high point and capitalize on all that equity. And at those low points, that's when you can get in and buy more properties. So today I want to talk a little bit about rental properties because if you do get that second property, you're going to want that thing cash flowing while you are holding on to it. So one thing that's often overlooked when people are calculating whether they're going to buy a rental property and whether it cash flows or not is reserve for replacements or capital improvements. As an appraiser, we call it reserve for replacements. And what that means is those are items that you need to replace over time to keep the property in good condition. For example, a roof has a lifespan of about 30 years, depending on the roof you have. Windows have a lifespan. Carpet has a lifespan. All your appliances have a lifespan. And there is a very analytical way to look at this, and appraisers do this. It's called a 216 report. Anyway, this report that the appraiser is going to fill out on income producing properties, it's going to have a breakdown of each individual component of the house and what the remaining life is on that component. And then based on those remaining lives, how much is it going to cost to replace that item when it fails? So for example, if the roof is going to fail in 5 years, you need to budget in the cost of a roof amortized over the next 5 years. Appraisers use this in valuing rental properties to determine what the actual value is currently based on those capital expenses that may or may not have been done. If there's a lot of deferred maintenance, that can really affect the value of an income producing property. So when you're looking at rentals, especially 4 units and above, this is really going to come into play. Multiple units, this can really be a big factor that can make or break whether your investment property is going to be a good investment or if it's going to be a bad investment. We've bought a lot of multifamily properties that if we hadn't done this could have been really disastrous for us. And we've had some that honestly we didn't do this good enough, and we got into them. A couple of mobile home parks that we got into them and realized there was a lot of deferred maintenance that we couldn't see. Maybe we didn't do our due diligence enough, but honestly it wouldn't have mattered on those properties because they were such good deals we bought them anyway. In the end, just make sure you're checking out these make sure you're budgeting in the reserve for replacements when you're calculating your cash flow, and make sure that you're looking for those deferred maintenance items. And a lot of capital expenses can be deducted from your net operating income sheet, and we can go into that here in the future. But this is a cool chart that shows a life cycle of residential properties and how long certain things last and at what points in its life things need to be replaced. And sometimes there's, at some point there's a major remodel that needs to be done. Other points it's just replacing the furnace. So this is an interesting chart for you done by CoreLogic, which has really been helpful over the years to kind of look at. But I guess the main takeaway from this video today is just to look at those deferred maintenance items when you're calculating on your multifamily properties, to look at those deferred maintenance and make sure you budget in those reserve for replacement or capital expenditures that need to be made over the next 5 years. There are ways that you can get around this budget. A lot of times if you're buying a property and it's a fixer-upper and you've gone through and done a full remodel on the house, in that way, you know that you've replaced everything in that house that's going to need to be fixed in the next 5 years. So you don't really need to budget a whole lot for those reserved for replacements. But if you're going to be holding that property for longer than that 5 years, make sure you start calculating that stuff into play. Hopefully this video was helpful, and great luck on your next real estate investment, and we'll talk later.